Two dudes with attitudes, let's go. It's the two dudes and the attitudes, ruthless, aggressively speaking, so let's do this. We're Ryan and Denton, they here to get your attention. The 5-star broadcast, yeah. Start to the ending, whether it's the E or it's all E. The two dudes with the attitudes to bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on, time to lock in. Listen to the podcast where they get it poppin'.
It's Two Dudes with Attitudes, a wrestling podcast with your boy Ryan Enjoys Wrestling and the Heartbreak Dude Denton. And we are in our WWE edition. And we welcome you for the first time or for returning people. Thank you for tuning in. And we got a jam-packed week, man. We're going to have to get through this. We got news, we got Smackdown, we got Raw, we got NXT. We got to get through this, right? Smackdown.
Yeah.
Someone got fired for that logo, right?
I don't know. Because they're still using it. So apparently they love it. And it's all over the place.
Yeah. I guess somebody clowned them and they were like, it's because it's modern. We're trying to and it's like, no, it says Smackdown. Doesn't say the D is very hidden. It's Smackdown.
Yeah, it really does say Smackdown.
I don't know what you guys are doing with that, but
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, I don't care for it. I don't care for the SD on all the stuff too. I don't care for the closing credits, which we got for the second week in a row on SmackDown.
Just one this time though, right? Usually he was doing two. Now it's just one, right? Wasn't there two?
But like, why isn't he doing it on Raw? That's what I don't understand. Like, I don't get like. Are you trying to keep them different?
Smackdown is pure cinema. Okay, it's pure. Did you not see it? Pure cinema.
Oh, we'll get into that. Yeah, we'll get into that for sure because I got some thoughts. I got thoughts.
You got thoughts on your pure cinema.
But today's the day, man. Today is September. What's today? The 25th, 2024. The Vince McMahon, Mr. McMahon docuseries on Netflix has officially dropped. They've done all 6 episodes at one time. I thought they would do like 1 or 2 episodes, and then you have to wait a week for the next one, and another week. But
that's not how Netflix do.
Yeah, I know. But they do that for some stuff. Like the reality shows that they do, like Love is Blind. You have to wait some time to get some of the next episodes. Or
I know, like Stranger Things, they do half.
Yeah,
like they'll do the first 6 and then they'll do the next 6, but they usually at least release.
So, but they released all 6 episodes, and I tell you what, man, Vince McMahon is not a happy camper. This man has not posted on Twitter. I think the last time he posted on social media, it was known as Twitter, and now it's X. So that's how long it's been since he's posted. And he came out of his social media hiding, and he basically just ripped it a new one. He said that a lot has been misinterpreted or left out entirely in an effort to leave viewers intentionally confused. The producers are use typical editing tricks with out of context footage and dated sound bites, etc., to distort the viewer's perception and support a deceptive narrative. In an attempt to further their misleading account, the producers use a lawsuit based on an affair I ended as evidence that I am, in fact, Mr. McMahon. He added in his statement that I don't regret participating in the Netflix documentary. The producers had the opportunity to tell an objective story about my life and the incredible business I built, which were equally filled with excitement, drama, fun, and a fair amount of controversy and life lessons. I hope the viewer will keep an open mind and remember that there are 2 sides to every story.
That is true.
Yeah. I just hope that this docuseries goes into a lot of good details about some things. I hope they don't leave stuff out, but I also hope that I really hope it's accurate and not spliced together, not using old footage and thing. Like, I really hope that when they because Cody Rhodes is on there, The Rock is on. I hope they're not using like, this was on a Peacock interview on the Monday Night Wars. Let me put this in this documentary. I really hope they actually talk to these people and that it's a legit thing. And I really hope this doesn't jeopardize their relationship with Netflix ahead of Monday Night Raw coming to Netflix in January. I am kind of worried about all of this stuff going on.
That's what I've heard from the insiders and other people saying that they don't understand why Netflix would do this because, WWE, as Eric Bischoff said, is the face. Vince McMahon is the face of WWE, which he isn't. And that's what people will think of. I think this is a way to, I think it's the opposite. I think they're going to end episode number 6 or whatever, with all about Vince being this disgusting human being who was raping and sex trafficking and this and that. And I think
Allegedly.
that's how they're going to allegedly, but I think they're going to end it with, hardcore stuff that doesn't really throw a lot of allegedly. And I think they're going to say, and they moved on from him and the WWE got rid of him. And now they have moved on to the blah, 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 and this and that. And you know what I mean? So I think it's going to make WWE look like, yeah, he'll be on there. But it makes it'll make WWE look good for getting rid of him. So I don't see it being a bad light. I see it's being, we already know about the history of WWE and whatever he did, you can't change it. Oh, wait, they did. They got rid of him and moved on. So, I did hear, though, because you brought up the whole thing. Eric Bischoff did state that he said no to the being on the show, and he's all over the show. So obviously they are using old footage. So I know that they did do new interviews, but they are using old interviews as well. I'm excited to watch it. Just so y'all know, we're going to do 3 episodes, correct? We're going to do episode 1 and 2. Response or a review, and then 3 and 4, and then 5 and 6. So we're going to watch all 6. We're going to respond here so you guys can see if you agree with us or disagree with what we think. And I'm even going to take notes like I do, just so I have all the details to remember. So yeah, it should be fun, but I'm excited. And like you said, you've watched a few already and you don't think it's as exciting as you thought.
I don't see so far.
We'll see. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Hype is a crazy thing.
I'm in the middle of episode 4, and they're just getting to the Attitude Era, and so I'm assuming now that this is where we're gonna get some of the controversial stuff with Trish Stratus and Vince's affairs, and and then we're gonna get to some of the stuff afterwards. Owen Hart in this whole thing, and
I hope so.
I'm hoping we get there. But the first couple of episodes, we're not as earth-shattering as Vince McMahon made him out to be in his statement. So I'm hoping that maybe towards the end it gets there, but I'm not there yet. So I'm excited to see where it goes. And yes, we're going to do 3 episodes. Episode 1 and 2, most likely tomorrow sometime. 3 and 4 probably go up on Saturday morning after we do our AEW episode on Friday, and then Monday we'll do 5 and 6.
Yes, sir. We'll have them all out there. It should be fun. Remember, too, that this was Vince McMahon's idea. So Netflix didn't go to him. Vince went to Netflix. And this was being shot before or during COVID. Yeah. So I don't think Vince is worried about the first 5 episodes. I think he's worried about maybe the end half of 5 and 6. Well, that's what I think he's worried about.
I mean, the 10 minutes into the first episode, they go right into the allegations of, and they say that
they gotta
all the interviews that occurred they talk about how he resigned from the WWE the first time in 2022, and he agreed to meet with them in 2021, and then he scrapped the project altogether. He didn't so yeah, they're using a lot of old stuff from when they talked to him in 2021. But should be. But I'm hoping that Cody Rhodes is on there, which of course he is. The Rock is on there. I really hope that these are real conversations and real interviews, and not this was on the Cody Rhodes documentary, so we got to put it in here and splice it in here. So I really hope it's all legit.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, let's get into some Smackdown. You ready?
Yeah, I got to change our banner because it says, what's Smackdown? It says Smackdown.
I don't know what a Smackdown is. I have no idea. But I know what a Smackdown is. Let's get into it because this episode was pure cinema. The Bloodline arrives minus Solo and get checked by metal detectors, and they don't like it. So Fatu takes out security. He's like, no, not on my watch.
Anyone else want to pat down? That was the best part.
Yeah. I was like, I do. Yeah, I didn't even know he talked. LA Knight defends his title against Andrade. Stratton and Jax talk, and Jax says if they lose, and Tiffany Stratton will lose if they do. Carmelo and Andrade fight again backstage, so I guess we're getting a best of 7, not a best of 5. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns have a face-to-face at Georgia Tech Stadium. They both hate each other still, but they'll have each other's backs, I guess. I don't know. They drove cars and other things. Apollo Crews defeats Giovanni Vinci again. It's a Giovanni Vinci. I like to lose. Kevin Owens is out for a promo, but he gets interrupted by guess who? The Bloodline, because there's only 7 people on SmackDown. They attack, but DIY, part of the other 7, make the save. We're going to get a 6-man tag later tonight. Bayley and Naomi both pin Nia Jax to win the tag team match. Chelsea Green has a hilarious video done where she is preparing for a dumpster match against Michin. Bayley versus Naomi next week to decide who will face Nia Jax for the title. Bloodline take out DIY, so the Street Profits step in for the 6-man. Bloodline and KO and the Street Profits all end in a DQ, I guess, because sometimes you can throw people into things, but sometimes you
Makes
can't.
no sense.
We just talked about this, and it's like they listen. They all brawl after the match, and Cody Rhodes, fresh from Georgia Tech, drove down there pretty fast. He did have like a Lambo or something. I
Yeah,
don't
he
know.
had his Fast and Furious car.
Too fat. Oh, he got it from Roman or from The Rock.
Yeah,
Makes
who
the
knows?
save.
They were both in them.
Yep. And then KO teases hitting Cody with the chair for about 6.5 minutes. I'm pretty sure Cody was supposed to turn beforehand, but they decide to make out instead to close the show. And that's the Smackdown review. Where was this Smackdown at? California, right? Wasn't it San Francisco or whatever?
Sacramento, I think. Yeah.
Sacramento.
Yeah.
So just making sure, because Atlanta and I live in California, pretty far. Yeah.
Two different states. One's all the way across the country from the other. And let's
just start with that.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because I didn't watch this episode live, and so all I saw on social media was how cinema this was, and how fantastic this was, the best segment that WWE's ever produced, and how great it was. And Cody and Roman, just two generational talents that just do not like it. And I was just like, oh, okay. So then I watched it and I was like, really? Like that's what we got? Talk about much ado about nothing. First of all, Roman Reigns drove like 17 cars, and Cody Rhodes even mentioned that in the segment. He said,
what was the
7 cars, very subtle. And I'm like, okay. So
that's how he talks. Very subtle.
Very, very subtle. But like, why did Roman have so many cars? Number one. I don't like
who was in them. I was
expecting, like, okay, with all these cars, like, we're gonna get like, Jimmy Uso is back, and Paul Heyman's gonna get, like, we're gonna see a special appearance from them. But no, we didn't get that. I don't know who's in these other cars. And then Cody's driving like 150 miles per hour down on Interstate 95, which is like very illegal. He's the only one on the road too, which is very odd. He must have been driving at like 4 o'clock in the morning to get there in time for this segment. But I don't know, man. This whole segment, it was just, first, it would have been great if they had done this on the road to WrestleMania for Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. It would be great if they did this for a future match between Cody and Roman, maybe part 3. But this is a tag match at Bad Blood, and you wouldn't have even known that they were teaming up. I mean, yeah, they kind of talked a little bit about it, but you didn't know. They didn't mention Jacob Fatu at all. They didn't mention Solo Sikoa at all. They referred to them as they. They took my bloodline. They took my wise man. They took my Ulafala. They took Jimmy. But I don't know. And then Cody, they did all this for Cody to make Roman say, make Roman give Cody his word that he's going to watch his back at Bad Blood. This couldn't have been an in-ring segment. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. This was a huge miss for me.
So when we get into Raw, I'm going to talk about the importance of doing a segment like this, and in my opinion, by the way, not fact, but my opinion, why you do a segment in the ring and why you do a pre-recorded. And I'll talk about that on Raw. I posted TikToks about all these things, but I fully agree with you. And I said that too. If you're going to make this video, it needs to be important. Why would you put these guys in a stadium, not even in the same state, so no one cared? Why couldn't it be done in, Stanford or somewhere? Like, that would have made more. I get it, because he's from Atlanta and he went to that school, but then save it for Atlanta.
And Bad Blood's in Atlanta. That's the
Still, this was a stupid. The segment made
no
sense. It was unnecessary, and I'm not talking about the pure cinema. I'm doing air quotes for my boys out there who listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, but it looked good. Sure, it was shot well. Sure, I'm not talking that. Yeah, I'm cool with that. But other than that, what did they say? Roman finally brought up Paul Heyman and Jimmy Uso. Cool. But what's the point? So he has a point to wrestle. Okay. What was Cody Rhodes' point to wrestle in this match? Nothing. He didn't even say why. He basically said, this is my belt. This is my WWE. And this is why I'm the best now and you're not. Move on. And then Roman said, I hate you. You're always in my way. And then he's like, oh, I'm sorry I'm in your way. I'll move. No, you're in my way in life.
Yeah.
Executive producer Triple H. It made I watched it and I was like, what the did I just like? What was
And
the
then
this?
and then they replayed it on Raw in
Yeah.
NXT.
Oh my
And they
gosh.
cut it down significantly. I'm like, I
Uh-huh.
liked it even less. It was just
Mhm.
this was so bad. All of it was bad.
And you can tell how many times they shot it because Cody's belt kept moving on his shoulders when he was talking. Not like after a segment, like mid, they would cut to rope and cut back. And it was like the whole thing where like your water cup on the table during a TV show
Yeah.
is like half full, then it's empty, then it's full again, then it's empty. That's what I was like, dude. It's just this was a good example of we didn't need this. They could have done this in the ring. It would have made way more sense. But Triple H right now is on his high because stupid AEW fans said it's a TV show on Ret. So now he's doing his best to make it pure cinema. I'm not crapping on the segment. I'm just saying it was unnecessary and served zero purpose. I'm not excited for the tag match now. I'm not excited for Cody and Roman. I'm not excited for anything. It just happened and I'm moving on with my life.
This served no purpose. I have no interest. It's not that I don't have an interest in the tag match, but this segment didn't make me any more interested in the tag match. And I didn't like that they didn't talk. Like I can't stand it when these little plot holes in these stories occur. How did Solo get the Ulafala? Because Roman talking about how that's the most important thing to him, but yet we don't really know how he got it in the first place. And like it, I don't know. It's just these little plot holes. And then the thing I did like about it though was the ending, which the fact that it was over. But no, like the thing I liked about it was Kevin Owens.
You're in my way in life. Oh, Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens watching it, and you know, if this is what leads to him finally snapping and turning heel on Cody Rhodes, then I'm all for it. This whole idea of them teaming together and everything, I'm for it. But that was my favorite part of the whole segment, and that tells you that the segment just didn't land for me.
Yeah. And I mean, and with that said, I mean, what else is really to talk about in this damn episode? I mean, what do you got? What other
we had a loser leave SmackDown match that nobody's gonna leave SmackDown apparently because they both first of all, you pinned Nia Jax of all people, you pinned the champion. But
I mean, that's okay. Give her a shim, you know, it's all right. She's gonna win whoever wins this, so it is what it is.
But you had a loser
wins. She's gonna beat. Go ahead.
You have a loser leave SmackDown match, and they kind of just completely went away from that with this whole, well, next week on SmackDown, Naomi versus Bayley, and the winner will wrestle Nia Jax. But does the loser still have to leave SmackDown? Or is that forgotten about?
That's forgotten. Yeah, whoever. Yeah, it's all good. And also, why not just do the 3-way? I don't get it. Are we unless we're getting the Naomi turn, which I'm hoping, or the Bayley turn, which I'm really hoping, I don't see what the point of this is. So, I mean, why not just have a 3-way and have them bicker? You can have it that way too. Bayley tries to pin her, she pulls her just like they did in that match, and vice versa. But maybe we'll get that. I'm assuming in this one-on-one, we're probably going to have Tiffany Stratton or something come in, and then Nia, and they'll interfere, and then it'll still get to the 3-way anyway. I think they're just building. But this is the problem with Smackdown right now, and this is what I said. You moved to the USA Network, and you changed your name, so that's great. You went from SmackDown on Fox to SmackDown on USA, which I'm all for. That's fantastic. But other than that, what'd you do? You didn't change anything. It's still the same boring set. Yeah, for all of you that aren't watching on video, we now say the WWE SmackDown review.
It's not a typo or a misprint. That's the name of the show.
Yeah, that's a SmackDown review. But I don't get what you did to change anything. It's just the same boring show with now Roman. We need to do something. And I posted that, and someone on TikTok said, well, they don't have anybody in their, you know, whatever. Then bring people over. You have 1,000 people on Raw. It's not like
everybody going to NXT.
Everyone's going anywhere. Yeah, or you do have people on SmackDown though, but push them out more. We don't have to have Cody constantly wrestling the Bloodline. We don't have to have I was really hoping in that promo too that Cody was going to say like, I see why you're doing it. Well, I'm doing it because I'm sick of it. So this is it for me. And after this, I'm done with you. I'm done with everything. I'm moving on. And then Roman could have said, you have my title. You're my no, because it's just like I don't know what to do.
We're gonna get Cody. Cody's gonna be involved in the War Games match. Cody's far from done with his Bloodline story. You know who else I want to move on from the Bloodline? Kevin Owens. Like I know that you know I just said that I like the part where he's watching it only for the storytelling purpose, like of him potentially turning on Cody. But like this man has been wrestling the bloodline since the beginning of this entire story. He's been wrestling the bloodline since Cody was in AEW, and
Yeah,
he needs to move on from this. Like he needs something else to do
for
on
sure.
SmackDown.
Oh gosh, yes, he does. All right, let's move on. Unless you want to talk about Giovanni Vinci losing again,
No,
but
we'll get to that.
All right.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. All right, let's get to the Monday Night Saw review. Oh no, they didn't change their name, did
No,
they? Okay, they're still Raw. Okay, they're not Saw right now. All right, let's go. Daddy Dom and Liv arrive in a lowrider, head to the ring. A lowrider, which I assume was going to get destroyed before the end of the night, but it didn't. They brag about taking everything from Rhea when Rhea hits the ring. Dom will be in a shark cage. You heard that first, ladies and gentlemen, in a shark cage above the ring for their match, and Rhea headbutts Liv. Sami Zayn defeats Kaiser. Gunther walks out just to tell Sami he doesn't get a title shot again. Kofi Kingston tries to bring back the old New Day stuff, but Xavier Woods is not having it. That's not what I want. I want to be serious and I want to win titles. Okay. New Day versus the Creeds later on tonight. American made. Liv and Dom tell Adam Pearce they are not happy and he don't care, even though Dirty Dom is afraid to be behind bars again. He don't want that. It's freaking PTSD, homie. Dragon Lee defeats Carlito for some reason. Karrion Kross tells The Miz, monsters come in all shapes and sizes. Sheamus tells everyone to call Pete Dunne Butch. Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman brawl again. Drew McIntyre is out for a chat, and it's short and sweet. Strowman versus Reed, last monster standing match next week that The Miz will interfere in. Damage Control defeat the Unholy Union. American May defeat the New Day. Damian Priest says Balor is not his brother. The Wyatt Six have a video again. Pure Fusion Collective are the future. LWO and the New Day chat backstage, and Xavier Woods isn't having it, so it's Woods versus Deadbeat Dad next week. And in the main event, Ryan enjoys wrestling all-time favorite new wrestler Jey Uso yeets all over Braun Breaker to become the new IC champion, and then Jey goes into the crowd and yeets all over him to close the show, and that's the WWE Monday Night Raw review. Where do you want to start? A lot happened on this episode.
Yeah, this was way better than SmackDown, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It was a solid show from
this episode was fire. Yeah,
it was great.
100%.
Let's get into Jey Uso, man. Let's start with the good. I mean, winning after 14 years, he finally wins his first singles title. You know, it's a little bittersweet for me because I don't like that it came at the expense of Braun Breaker. But at the same time, you know, Jey Uso, he needed this, and I think it was a great match. It was a shock. I did not think he was going to win it. It was a big surprise. I was pleasantly surprised. I'm happy for him, and I hope he goes on and has a really, really good, long, successful Intercontinental Championship reign. I think if anybody deserves it, it's him. He's super over with the crowd. He's super popular, and now he can live up to that moniker of being main event Jey Uso. So shout out to Jey.
For reals, being someone who's been down since day one-ish, I am excited for Jey Uso, and I am very, very happy for him. I do have a couple sadnesses, though, is that Braun Breaker only had one successful title defense. He lost on his second title defense. I know that he can recover from this and move on and become a monster again and blah, blah, blah. And he can win the IC title 4 more times in the future, so that's okay. I did find it weird, though, that Jey Uso beat him, like, at his own game. You know what I mean? Like, he's known as the spear monster, spearing people through the ring and this and that. And he got speared through the barricade. Jey Uso speared him through the barricade, then threw him in, then defeated him. I did think it was kind of weird that it's like, well, how do you come back from this? So I'm assuming Braun's done. But props to Jey Uso. WWE, don't do him like you're doing LA Knight. I get it. You have your two most gimmicky characters who are over with the child audience. You now have your 3 most over the top child audience people with Cody Rhodes, LA Knight, and Jey Uso all having championships. But unlike LA Knight, let's slow down on the yeeting, right? Now let's get Jey Uso away from Rhea Ripley, away from the Judgment Day. Let's get him more serious. He can still say yeet. He can still wear pink and blue, but he doesn't need to start in the popcorn stand every single time he comes to the ring. We don't need him yeeting in the eye. Just have him yeet, come out, cut good promos that he can, be main event Jey Uso, with a little bit of the yeeting and have him have a good IC title reign because he deserves it. That's all I'm saying. And I want to see him form back up with Jimmy and Roman and everybody too when the time needs to be. But other than that, let him be solo.
Yeah, I agree. But unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen. Rhea Ripley was
absolutely
shown
not
on WWE, not on TV, but doing the yeet in the crowd behind the scenes, and it was on WWE.com, I think. But either way, I don't think she's far from done with Jey Uso, and I think they're gonna be an on-screen thing now. I mean, she's got to have something for moving on from Liv Morgan, so I guess it's got to be Jey, but. Yeah, I don't like that it came at the expense of Braun Breaker. I am curious to know like where he goes from here. And it's not so much to me that, yeah, I know Braun is young and he can recover from this. I get that. But this is twice now that his momentum has been completely derailed.
That's true.
You know, it happened at it happened at Money in the Bank when same Braun Breaker was up there with Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman, like a monster in the WWE. He was unstoppable, untouchable. He killed Ricochet backstage. I mean, he literally he was spearing everybody. Like he speared Dragunov, he speared Sami Zayn. Like he was uncontrollable. And then he gets the Intercontinental title, or then he wrestles Sami Zayn at Money in the Bank, and Sami Zayn, who's also a little guy, beat him relatively easily and kind of killed his momentum. And then he got the Intercontinental title back at SummerSlam and then beat Sami Zayn in a rematch. And then, lost to Jey Uso in a similar type match. So
he basically just held it. He didn't do anything with it. Yeah,
I know. So I was kind of disappointed in that, but I'm happy for Jey. I think it should be a good reign. And I do agree. Let him go solo and let's see what happens. You know, I have a feeling that maybe the bloodline is going to this isn't going to be a long reign at all, and that the bloodline will cost Jey the title, and that's how he reunites with Roman and Jimmy at War Games to be like, they screwed me out of my title, the only title I've ever won, Oos. And so you need me, I'm gonna help. Yeah, you need me, I'm gonna help you. And that's how we get Roman, Jimmy, and Jey back together. I hope that's not the case. I actually like the idea of Jimmy having a belt while Roman doesn't, while Jey having a belt, and Roman doesn't, because for the longest time Jey was in the group when Roman had a belt and he didn't, and you know, kind of having that power dynamic and everything, because we all thought Jey should have been the tribal chief, and some people thought he should dethrone Roman. I'm one of those people too.
Yes, they did.
And so, but yeah, now that he has the Intercontinental title, I hope he holds it for a while and don't have the bloodline screw him.
I agree. All right, let's get into it. I know you want to talk about it. Let's do New Day. Let's go.
Yeah.
I know
okay.
What you want to talk about.
So I tried to stitch your video yesterday on TikTok, but I had to take it down because it got no views in like an hour and a half of posting. So I'm like, whatever.
You know, when you post the big dog on TikTok, you're going to get those views, homie.
When you come for the king, you best not miss, right? But but you know, I was adamant that Kofi was going to be the one to turn on Xavier. I was, until I watched this episode of Raw. And now I'm officially in the camp that Xavier's turning on Kofi and he's going to go heel. It was just, I think they gave us a little bit of a sneak peek of his future character and his future gimmick when he was yelling at Rey Mysterio, being like, you think you're better than me because you're a former world champion? And what about you, Kofi? You're a world champion too. You're making all these decisions because you're a former world champion and I'm not. So I have this feeling that's going to be his gimmick going forward. And there's a lot of people he can wrestle with as that heel. You know, Sammy's Seth Rollins, for instance, when he comes back, Rey Mysterio, Kofi Kingston. You know, there's so many people. Damian Priest, you know, who's a big baby face right now. He's a former world champion. CM Punk, who's a former world heavyweight champion. So there's a lot of people. John Cena, if they want to kind of run into that. But so yeah, I think I'm actually in the camp now that it's going to be Xavier Woods who turns on Kofi Kingston. Even though I still think Kofi's been the heel this entire time.
Possibly, but I think you're right. And that's what I said on TikTok is basically I'm seeing on the 10th anniversary, because they brought it up. So 10 years of New Day being together is coming up. I think they're going to have them two and Big E all there. They're going to celebrate, and Xavier Woods is going to lay out Kofi, and then Big E is going to be like, no, what are you? And then he's going to like low blow Big E, and then what's Big E's in his neck, and probably attack his neck, and the crowd, he's going to get the most flipping heat ever, and it's going to start his super, like Patrick's saying, he's super underrated, and his solo run is going to be insane because of that. The only way I see it not happening is if Big E is coming back to wrestle and he's like the middleman at first and he saves them at the 10-year. But I
Dr.
think,
Shelby
but I don't think he's coming back. So I think we're going to see that. And I think Big E's going to be there to play Peacemaker, and Woods is going to lay him out, and Woods is going to get dirty Dom heat because people love them some Big E, and watching him put work on Big E's neck is going to get that crowd freaking blazing. So that's what I think is going to happen. So whenever the 10-year anniversary is going on, that's what we'll get to. In the meantime, Xavier's going to keep losing until then. So because of Kofi or because of whatever else is going to happen. Yeah. So
I'm digging it, man. I've actually really enjoyed this story. It's been at first I was kind of like I'm glad Karrion Kross is out of the picture now, and it's really focusing on the dynamic between Kofi and Xavier. It's not so much, well, Karrion Kross says this, and I need to join Karrion. I felt like he's not joining Karrion. Like that was never going to happen. So but now that it's just Kofi and Xavier Woods, I'm all in on this story.
Yeah, Karrion's just playing the devil on shoulders, so that's his gimmick right now. I guess. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, monsters come in all shapes and sizes. All right, and you got anything else, or
let's talk the videos.
That's what I was going to talk about. Yeah,
the video production, because you talked about on your TikTok video about the Damian Priest and some of his video package and some of the stuff with Judgment Day and everybody else.
Pure Fusion,
Pure Fusion. That's what I was thinking of. But I like the one they did with Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed. I thought that one was freaking fire for Last Monster Standing, when like they both turned into King or Godzilla or whatever at the end. I was like, this, and that's a match for a Monday Night Raw. That's not even a premium live event match. That's not even a match at Saturday night's main event coming up. It's like next week on Raw, and I'm amped for that match. I can't wait to see it. Based on after that, watching that video, it was great.
Yeah, and that video was great. I was more trying to get over the point of Cross of doing a promo in ring and behind the scenes and why it works better. And I think this was the perfect example of why Smackdown did it wrong, because that one should have been in the ring. But Pure Fusion Collective is not getting over. The crowd doesn't care. They would have cut that exact promo in the ring. The crowd would have been silent AF, and it would have come over as an embarrassment. But since they did it in that behind this in that promo where it was like the music, they looked. If you have never watched wrestling, this is your first time checking in on, because Smackdown got you going. You wanted to watch Raw, getting ready for Netflix. So you come and watch that, and you see that. You think those are the three most badass bitches in the planet. Hey, look good. Even Priest, man. Priest cutting that thing about, you're not my brother and this and that. It's just something else that, why waste the time of him in the ring saying it when you can cut that backstage promo? And that's what Raw did so much better. And that's the importance of doing a backstage promo instead of doing it in the ring. And sometimes they go back and forth, right? Like the one on SmackDown shouldn't have happened. There was one time in AEW where Homegirl was giving up her title. Why am I forgetting her name? And she gave up her title. Thunder Rosa by doing it backstage. Didn't even come out. The girl was relinquishing her title, and Tony Khan was like, nah, fam, you ain't good enough. Just do it backstage. It was like, there's things where you need to do things in the ring and you don't. And sometimes they mix match. But Raw did it perfectly, and that's one of the best. You're talking about pure cinema. I'm doing the air quotes again. That's what Raw's been, pure cinema, not Smackdown. So I don't know what they're getting at, but I agree with you. And that one with Bronson Reed, and that just once again, how simple it is, which I don't know why AEW can't do this, how simple it is to build a story without even saying anything. They're just destroying each other nonstop. Liv and Dom are walking in the ring, and they like go right through them in front of them and are still fighting from like, have they been fighting for 7 days straight? Or did they just like take a break and then meet again? Or like like
the chicken
and then they
Peter
just
Griffin and Family Guy. Every time they see each other, they just beat each other.
They beat each other up. It's just great stuff. It's phenomenal, and I love it. And the Miz is turning on Braun Strowman. I'm just throwing it out there.
Oh yeah, he's gonna cost.
He's gonna cost Braun Strowman. Yep, 100%. So we'll
see. Or Seth Rollins comes back and he costs Bronson Reed. So I mean, there's all kinds of avenues that they could go, and that's the thing I like that I like about it. It's pretty unpredictable, and you
Yeah.
really have no clear-cut winner. But you know the ring is going to break next week. The
Well,
ring's
yeah,
going to
but
shatter. Yeah.
That's already ready. It'll be the first match of the night, so they can already have that shit
Oh yeah.
ready to pop out. By the way, speaking of Seth Rollins, that dude just got eliminated at a football game. Poor guy.
I know, by T.Y. Hilton of all people. So he's
That was
already
hilarious.
eliminated from the Royal Rumble, because that's the site of the Royal Rumble too in
I know, yeah.
Indianapolis.
I
So,
was watching like ESPN or something. They're like, "Oh my god!" And the best part about it was that it wasn't planned. That security guard really removed Seth. I'm like, God, you guys are idiots. Like,
oh my
this
gosh.
is why wrestling, when people are like, wrestling's so fake, people fall for it all the damn time.
Oh, all
Seth
the
Rollins,
time.
and then they're like, he wrote "I hate football" in all caps after. I'm like, yes, he's been doing that for the past 8 years on his X. That's his
He hates,
gimmick.
he's a Bears
Because
fan.
he loses.
Yeah.
So every time he loses, he put "I hate football." Every time they win, he puts "I love football." Like, what are you like? So stupid. Well, he's about to write "I hate football" this Sunday too, because the Rams are back, baby, and we gonna whoop on those Bears. Anyway, let's go into some NXT. Are you ready? Because I want to get into NXT. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
This was
no,
probably the best episode they've ever done.
Yeah.
I'm not being sarcastic.
Talk about
I am
cinema.
like, dude, this was cinema, sir. Let's get into it. This is the last show on the USA Network, and it opens with Kalani Jordan defeating Rin Sinclair to defend her title. Ethan Page at the press conference, wink, wink, and he's not worried about CM Punk. Now CM Punk tells Trick Williams that he's going to call the match fair. The end. Grayson Waller effect with Fraxium, I guess that's their new name, and A-Town Down Under take them out. Ashanti the Adonis is still being a perv. Hank and Take defeat the OC. Javon Evans is ready for Randy Orton, and A-Town Down Under interrupt him, and they'll all fight later tonight. Ora Mensa defeats Lexus King by using the ropes after Lexus King said he wasn't going to cheat to win. Tony D trains for Oba Femi in a Rocky hype video. Zachary Wentz and Wes Lee have a promo, and it's a Temu version of Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins where they say the F word and threaten each other's families. Rich Holland defeats Riley Osborne, and they brawl after the match. Oba Femi and Tony D will be on Miz TV next week. I'm dying to see that. Oba Femi isn't worried about Tony D at all at the press conference. Fatal Influence versus Lola Vice and Jada Parker next week. Rosemary and Wendy Chu defeat Carmen Petrovic and Brinley Reese while Carmen Petrovic is distracted by the pervert. CM Punk and Ethan Page chat. Fatal Influence at the press conference, and they don't tell us who will wrestle in their match. A-Town Down Under defeat Cedric Alexander and Javon Evans by pinning Cedric Oh, I'm kidding. They pinned Javon Evans.
Yeah.
What? All right.
Oh
Trick
God.
Williams at the press conference, and he says he'll be the champ again, one of the few two-time champs, and Punk will not be a factor, which means he will. The end of the press conference has a sit-down with Roxanne Perez and Julia, and I fall asleep. When I wake up, where am I? Stephanie Vagier was on the screen, and I guess she gets the winner to close the show, and that's the NXT review. And ladies and gentlemen, I did fall asleep. And I was watching it today. Go ahead.
Okay. All right.
You want to talk about that press conference?
Let's talk about all the press conferences, because you had what, 4 on that show?
Mm-hmm.
You had the Trick Williams one, Ethan Page, Oba Femi, and then you had one in the ring. I'm like, why?
Attraction, one in the ring. Yeah.
Like, why'd you have the fake ones in the obviously fake ones where they don't even show the media? They don't even show their faces. They don't even show the back of their heads. They just and it's like, you can tell like it's a rehearsed thing. It was very scripted. We just praised the video production team of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. Whoever did the video production of these, they're probably an intern or something, because that was not very good. That was not good work. But that last segment with Julia and Roxanne Perez was absolutely atrocious. It might be the worst segment I've ever seen in professional wrestling. It was god awful. And like the fact that you have Julia, whose English is not her first language, and that's completely fine, but you also have her interpreter who is Funaki, and English is also not his first. English is not his first language, and you could tell he was like reading off of a script and not listening to what Julia was saying, because he was like, at one point he was like, so she says that in Chicago next week it's going to be.
Well, didn't you see him taking notes?
Yeah. And he was like, I can't. He was like flubbing his lines a little bit. and then like then Julia could speak perfectly good English. Like, have you
Mhm,
ever thought about what happens if I beat you? And then
mhm.
you have, I mean, Byron Saxon. I mean, whatever.
What
But
was the point? Yeah. Mhm,
yeah, but hey, wait your turn, media, until I call on you, please. And then it was Stephanie Vacker who's like, I'm gonna get the winner. Like, okay, so we've been anticipating her return or her debut in NXT because we all knew about it. It was all over social media. We've been
mhm,
anticipating the arrival of Julia in NXT. You have your network debut next week
mhm,
for NXT on the CW, and like, why didn't you wait until and have Stephanie Vacker show up next week instead
mhm.
of doing it on this episode here? That was
In a
really that.
weird way too.
It was very
Yeah.
weird, very weird. I mean, she shows up via satellite, and it was just all of it was bad. This whole episode was just a complete miss for me.
So I've loved Roxanne Perez as a heel, but I don't know after last week with Punk and this week here, maybe people are right and she's just uh, embracing the heel role. I don't know what it is if she's trying too hard to be bad and evil instead of just letting it flow. Most wrestlers, it's very easy to become a heel because you just got to act like a dick. How hard is that? Anyone can act like a dick. I don't know if she's this whole segment was filled with pauses and
And it
it
felt like they
just and
lost the
even
crowd. Yeah,
they lost. I told you they lost everybody, and even Julia, she was pausing, speaking in her native tongue. It was just like a lot of dead air. And then Funaki talks, and they show it on the screen before he even starts talking. So if WWE already had it, why didn't you just put it up when she was speaking in Japanese? Because
yeah.
the crowd couldn't see it. Put it on the screen. It was just really, really bad. And I have to. And then yeah, Stephanie Vakir showing up, and it was like, what? And Brian Saxon's like, oh, Byron Saxon, I guess it's somebody's interfering with our camera and this and that. And I'm like, wait, what? And then you just show her and the crowd kind of cheers. And then she says one line, and then the two girls didn't even look worried. But you just got them going again. They haven't even started their feud yet, and you're
Yeah.
having her already added in. How about you let some of these girls like cook a little bit before you just thrust them into the title shot? But my last thing is we knock on AEW a lot for what they do wrong and this and that. Something they've always done right is embracing the Japanese culture and wrestlers, bringing them in and utilizing them the way that they can. They have one, I forgot who he is again. It's not Takeshita. It's not Takeshita, where he uses like the thing against
Yeah, yeah,
Jericho
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff. He's
yeah.
part of the,
He has the voice,
you
the
know,
phone.
yeah. And then that's funny.
Ishii,
Takeshita
I think.
and
Is it Ishii?
Isha, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and Okada, they have been threatening wrestlers super over the top by just using a few words, saying a few lines. Okada's the king of it. He makes me laugh all the time. He says one damn thing. This is how you book it. Why does everybody have to cut promos? I think they ruined Julia here. This
I
was,
do too.
and this is what they did with Nakamura. And I said this. I said this a long time, and I'm not just backing myself up because I said it. I think it proved in this segment. WWE needs to stop trying to steal these. Let them go to AEW. The Japanese wrestlers do not shine in the
No.
WWE because they don't know how to. What you have a girl, Julia. I don't know if she can speak well or not, but obviously she wasn't that comfortable in the language. So what should we do with her? Oh, I got it. What's that, HBK? Let's put her in a talking segment where she gets interviewed and she's the only one who answers questions. Dude, that's brilliant. That's going to go super over, man. And then we're going to have her answer in Japanese and she'll talk for 3 straight minutes where nobody knows what she's saying and it'll tune everybody out. Perfect? Yeah, let's
The
run
show
with it.
and let's have it
It was
close the
like,
show.
yes, like what were you doing? She doesn't have to talk. Let her be a badass chick and say one line, and that line is, I'm going to kill you. That's it. And we can move on. Like, what are we? WWE, stop signing these wrestlers if you're going to ruin their careers. And I'm being Shinsuke. Yeah, I'm telling
Where
you, he
is
went
he
to
right now?
AEW,
Yeah,
his career would be a lot more positive.
yeah,
I'm telling
I
you, you
agree.
need to stop with that. Stop. Don't take these wrestlers if you're not. If you only want American wrestlers who can cut promos, then only sign American wrestlers who can cut promos, or European or whatever. People who speak the native tongue that you want them to say. But don't bring in these Japanese wrestlers and force them to cut promos that they can't do because you
Yeah,
ruin them. And I think
or
Julia was ruined here.
yeah, or have a mouthpiece that that can speak on their
Mhm,
behalf. That's
mhm,
really good on the
mhm.
mic. And I'm not criticizing Funaki at all. I love Funaki. I think he's awesome.
No, but it was
Yeah.
yeah.
But even then, like English is not his first language. I mean, he used
No.
to have his voice dubbed in by Shane McMahon when he was
Mhm.
indeed.
Yeah.
So back in the days of Kai and Tai,
Yeah.
man, I miss those guys. But
Yeah.
um,
Well, yeah, they chopped out some wee-wees. But once again, but you can do that without that too. AEW does it great. All of their
100, yeah.
Japanese wrestlers are all over.
And
I
I
love
just
them all.
this
So
was
it
a
just shows.
this whole thing was a production miss too. I mean, this is
Mhm,
something, we talking about what AEW does well. Let's talk about something AEW does bad, and they don't really understand the element of surprise, right? So,
mhm,
they had Stephanie Vacour come out on NXT on the week before their big network debut. Why not save
mhm,
that debut and have her come out into the ring in
mhm,
Chicago, a pro wrestling crowd that will be vocal, that will cheer, that will chant "Holy shit" when they see her in ring for the first time in NXT? And I feel like she's been kind of ruined with this whole thing too. And I feel like that was
mhm.
that's something AEW would have done.
Yeah.
Let's have her come out on the fourth Dynamite of right before the big show of the year or something. So, yeah, I didn't like that. And then all the fake press conferences throughout the entire show were just god awful. Very bad.
Well, there was one. The Tony D one was good. You didn't like
Yeah.
the Tony D one, the Rocky, like
No, that one was good, but it
I know
was
it
just
wasn't part of the press conference, but I mean, it hyped him up. It showed him having an over, and it's saying that he's going to beat Obafemi, which I'm excited about. So it
yeah,
was
because I think he
nice.
is. I think he will.
Well, you can't have him lose after all. That what's the I can't do it. I can't win. Let's hype him up to lose.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not gonna happen. But yeah,
Yeah.
I
But
liked all
I
that.
liked that one was good, but the rest of them were bad.
I agree. The press conference.
And then A Town Down
Talk
Under,
about it.
man.
Oh,
What a
yeah.
the two we talk about the two universes all the time in
Mhm,
WWE and how they they suck. They're terrible
mhm,
on the main roster. They don't win
mhm,
anything. They're basically enhancement talents. And yes, they did win at
mhm,
WrestleMania, but their tag team run was atrocious. And
mhm,
now here they are on NXT, and they're getting an NXT tag team title shot against
mhm,
Fraxium apparently. And
mhm.
now not only that, but they beat Javion Evans, a guy who's wrestling Randy Orton in a couple of weeks. And it's just
Mhm.
make sense. I don't understand what they're doing here.
And even with, I agree, Webster, I agree. And even with Fraxium interfering, why didn't Cedric take the pin? Why would you have Javon take a pin? A guy who shouldn't even be wrestling Randy Orton. He takes a pin before he's going to face Randy Orton. I know you still got another week, but
Yeah,
really stupid booking. Why pin Javon? Like, what were you thinking there? It didn't make any sense
yeah,
whatsoever.
I didn't get
So,
that at all. And then, yeah, this whole episode, like I said, was the beginning was a complete and utter catastrophe. It was just a big miss
I
all around. Then
I
the
agree.
Zachary Wentz, Wesley stuff was, like you said, just a carbon copy of
Oh,
Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins
yeah.
from 2022 in their build for Extreme Rules. So that was bad
Wasn't it?
too.
It was like script for script. It
Yeah.
was it was it was before the segment was supposed to happen. They were,
Hmm.
"Are you there? Are you there? Yeah, I'm there, mother beaver. Yeah, I'm there. What you gonna beep do about it, huh? Well, you're a piece of
Yeah.
beep. Well, you're a piece of beep. Well, that's not what your wife thinks. You gonna talk about my fiance? Where the beep are you? Where?" It was all just so stupid. And then they brawl, and then yeah, I was over it. I thought it was a Temu version of Riddle and Cedric for Sheezy. So
Yeah.
yeah, no thanks,
Yeah. But all in
no
all,
thanks.
I'm excited about next week's show. It's got a paper PLE like feel for it. It feels like it's going to be a big night in Chicago. I'm
Mhm,
excited for NXT in their future and how they're going to be touring now. And
mhm,
I really hope that they have a successful run and they sell tickets and
mhm.
they don't go back to the Performance Center. I think
Yeah,
the athletes deserve it. They really do.
I
They put on
agree.
a good show week in and week out. But also one thing I want to add before we move on, CM Punk. Like I appreciate him being there. I appreciate what he's trying to do for the NXT roster. Why is he wearing a Jade Cargill shirt on the NXT? Like
Maybe
she
giving
was,
props to his old AEW girl. I was thinking that. I
yeah,
don't.
but like she was never in NXT. She went right to
Mhm,
the main roster and debuted at the Rumble. Hasn't been in NXT. Hasn't spent once. I mean, she was at the Performance Center, yeah, but hasn't been on NXT at all. Like it would have been more
mhm.
sense if he had worn a, I don't know, a Braun Breaker shirt or
Yeah.
a Dragunov shirt or something, but
Mhm.
not freaking Jade Cargill, but that's just a minor gripe.
Yeah. And I thought since he was doing that, I thought he was paying homage to the fact that he knew her in AEW. So when him and Ethan Page talked, I was waiting because Ethan Page is like, well, you're drama. And I was waiting for him to be like, oh, I'm drama. And Ethan Page, I wanted him to be like, oh, do you not remember? I was there, Mr. Drama. At least something to like, because he was there during that time. I wanted him to at least
or
throw
say
it
like,
out
hey,
there.
as he's walking out, say something like, hey, nice shirt, by the way. And like a little homage to AEW with all three of them. But they just glossed over that.
They really did. All right. But it is going to be a big night in St. Louis too. It's going to be back-to-back pay-per-view type of vibes. So all right.
Fun time.
That was it. That's the WWE Week in Review. And now it's time for our segment. And this week we are doing, because I don't think we have a song,
Not yet.
Would you rather? It's where we name girls and decide whether or not we're going to have sex. Just kidding. We're going to bring up segments
can't say that
of wrestling. No,
our podcast is officially canceled. Yeah.
Whoops. That would you rather? So we're going to bring up a couple things and scenarios we might want to happen in WWE or NXT moving in the future, and we're going to decide if we'd rather have one of them happen. As always, we start with the man, Ryan. What you got for me first?
All right, I got a
best shot.
All right, I got a couple of bloodline related ones. So,
of course you do. Let's go.
All right. So, would you rather have The Rock join Solo Sikoa and the new bloodline as the fifth man in a War Games match? Mm-hmm. Or would you rather have The Rock be the reason that the OG bloodline loses and he's not in the match? So he interferes instead.
It's so hard because I'm thinking because he's going to wrestle Cody. So I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to get him there. You know what? I kind of want to see him be the head of the OG. I'll say that. Yeah, I think I'm going to go that route. Only because then maybe he can decide, yeah, I took that from Roman's house and I had it last time after Mania. And instead of Roman bringing it home, I took it. And I'm the one who gave the Fala or whatever it's called, the necklace to Solo and led all that. I think this bloodline needs more than Jacob Fatu. I do think they need to have a main person. Every new faction does. So I think The Rock being that, and that'll be a perfect way for them to fade into Cody Rhodes. So yeah, I'm going to go with, did I say OG? I mean the young one. The bloodline wolf pack is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think if he joins them as the fifth guy for the War Games match, it's obvious that Cody Rhodes is going to be with the OG bloodline. And I really don't want that. That's the only, I want to see the original bloodline with Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns, Jimmy and Jay, and maybe a new fifth member that's part of the family or something, but not Cody Rhodes. But I feel like they're going to go down that path of having Cody do it, so we can get Cody versus The Rock.
Yeah. But I just think it keeps it more interesting. I do think The Rock is going to appear there for that tag match. I do think he's making an appearance. I think he's going to cost Cody. I think Cody's going to get pinned too. I think that's the best way to do it, in my opinion. All right. I got some good ones for you. You ready?
Yes, sir. Let's bring it on.
All right. Would you rather Scarlett Johansson Cody? All right. You
just
ready?
Talking about it. Can't do that. Yeah.
Cody keep the title till WrestleMania or lose it and win it back at WrestleMania? What would you rather have? And I'm talking this because of Cody momentum, because I think no matter what, he's fighting main eventing WrestleMania. So do you rather have him just keep the title and keep doing with the bloodline, or maybe lose it, Kevin Owens, The Rock early, Roman, and then win it back at WrestleMania? What would you rather?
I would rather him keep it and lose it at WrestleMania. Because what they're going to do if he loses it before WrestleMania and he gets a title shot again at WrestleMania. It's going to be, he's going to finish the story again, or where it all begins again, the WrestleMania tagline from WrestleMania 20, twice in a lifetime with John Cena and The Rock too.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're going to go back to finish the story again or something like that. And I don't want to see that. Cody deserves to have a really, whoever dethroned Roman needed to have a long title reign. And I think it's obviously Cody Rhodes. And I think he deserves to have a good championship reign. And I think a year is plenty. Have him lose it at WrestleMania to I'd be okay if The Rock held it for a few months. I'd be okay if Roman won it again. I'd be okay if somebody new came along and won it, Randy Orton or somebody, John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I think Cody needs to keep it until WrestleMania and then lose it.
I agree with you. I think he should keep it and then lose it as well. But I think for Cody's sake, he needs to lose it before and then win it back at Mania. Just because if you're going to because I don't think the plan is for him to lose it at Mania. So I think if you're going to have him keep being the champion, I think he needs a restart, a refresh, a new idea. And I do think he's been hinting at it. In their awful promo on Smackdown, they talked a lot about it being his title. It's not your title anymore. It's my title, championship, my title. I'm the champion, my WWE, my this. So, I mean, they are hinting at, when you talk about it a lot, usually it's not true, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah. Either way works for me. Either way, he's going to be in the main event. So it is what it is.
Yeah. It's either going to be against. So speaking of that,
let's hear it. What's your last one? Hit me.
Do I want to go back to a Bloodline one? Yeah, let's do it. All right.
I'm going to end it with a Bloodline too. So it's all
so it's going to be Bloodline. Would you rather? So that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So, but speaking of the WrestleMania main event, would you rather see Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns 3, or Cody Rhodes versus The Rock, or The Rock versus Roman Reigns in the main event, WrestleMania 41?
Those are all three good ones. I honestly don't think we're ever getting The Rock and Roman Reigns unless it's at the next
point,
WrestleMania. Yeah, I think they've moved on from that. So yeah, I think we're gonna get. And would I rather? Yeah, I think I'd rather see The Rock versus Cody. If you're gonna have Cody, I think we're gonna get Rock, Cody, and Roman solo at Mania. I do think they're gonna drag it out that long. I really, really do. And I think that makes sense. And I think it'll be. And I think Cody needs to win and Solo needs to win, to be honest with you. And I think they both need pushes in different ways. Solo needs it because he gets that big win and he could be the real tribal chief or whatever he wants to be and move on. And that'll help him more. Roman doesn't need the wins anymore. Roman is the face, the end. But Cody needs it because maybe Cody's stale run will get better if he beats The Rock and finishes the damn story once and for all and is done with it. So I do kind of like that if Cody can win and end it. And I think The Rock would be a perfect person to put Cody over. So yeah, I'm going to go with The Rock and Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, Las Vegas, where tickets go on sale in a month.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I really want to see The Rock versus Roman. And I'm like really mad at all the Cody crybabies because they took that match away from us.
Yep.
Now that the WWE turned it into a good thing afterwards, but Triple H deserves a lot of blame for that too. But like this whole storyline started because of The Rock and Roman Reigns, and we were supposed to get The Rock and Roman Reigns, and we finally were going to get it. And then Triple H decided to have Cody win the Rumble and screwed everything up. So yeah. At this point, I don't think we're ever going to get Rock versus Roman, and I just find that to be really, really disappointing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to be Rock versus Cody in the main event of WrestleMania, and then Roman solo on night one main event. I like that.
Yeah, I agree. All right, you ready for the last one?
Yes,
last
sir.
Bloodline, would you rather? All right. Would you rather Jimmy Uso turn on Roman Reigns or Paul Heyman turn on Roman Reigns when they return back to the WWE? If one has to turn, which one would you rather? He brought them both up finally.
Yeah, I don't want either one of them to.
That's not the point of the game.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to go Jimmy Uso. I think Jimmy Uso should turn on Roman Reigns. And I think it'll be very similar to the Xavier Woods thing with Kofi Kingston, similar to the Drew McIntyre. Like, yeah, he would technically be a heel because Roman Reigns is a babyface. But Roman's character has not changed. And Roman treated Jimmy like garbage when he was the tribal chief. Even like at the tail end when Jimmy like left the bloodline with Jey and then he went back by turning on Jey at SummerSlam and then he went back and rejoined the bloodline. Even then, like Roman wouldn't hug him. Roman wouldn't dap him up. Roman was always clowning him for no yeet and just all this. And I think Jimmy's finally going to snap. And where was Roman when Jimmy got destroyed by the Tongans? Where was Roman when, Solo turned on him? And like, why didn't Roman come back and help him? So yeah, I'm going to say that I think Jimmy Uso should turn on Roman Reigns, but he'll be the heel, even though he's technically the babyface.
Yeah, that's good. I agree. I think Paul Heyman and Roman are good together. I think Jimmy should as well. And I honestly think one of them are going to turn. I think we got to keep getting little wrinkles in this storyline to lead up to WrestleMania. And I think we're going to get phases again. And I do think when one of them returns, they're going to turn on Roman for sure. There's a reason why Roman was gone and didn't come back to protect either of them. So one of them
Yeah.
has to be upset by that. So yeah, I agree. I think it'll be Jimmy as well. And I think it'll be better for Jimmy
Yeah,
to move on.
And I'm curious. I do want to see Paul Heyman as a babyface. That's like one thing we've never seen with him. I mean, yeah, we had Brock as a temporary babyface for a little bit, but yeah, I want to see Paul Heyman as a true babyface with Roman Reigns. I think it would be magic.
I agree. All right, that's Would You Rather, our segment that we love to do oh so much. And now it is time for our weekly segment that we do, and that is least valuable dude and most valuable dude of the week of SmackDown, Raw, and NXT. Ryan, who is your least valuable dude or dudette this week?
Well, we'll start with least this week. I said we would talk about it later, and this is where I'm bringing him up. Vinci. It's like this guy, he had
Giovanni Vinci.
He had video hype packages. They were booking him to. It looked like they were finally going to push him to the moon on SmackDown. He was hyped up to be this big thing. In his first match back, he lost in not even 5 seconds to Apollo Crews. And then this week, he got some offense in, sure, but he still got manhandled. He got destroyed. And I officially do not care whatsoever about Giovanni Vinci. Even if he does, like, if this becomes part of his character that he loses all the time, I don't care. Like, I don't take him seriously as a wrestler. I don't take him seriously as, like, he's not a threat to the U.S. title. He's not a threat to the bloodline. He's not challenging Cody anytime soon. He's not going after the tag titles. And, like, he's not a threat of anything because of how he's been booked. So 100% it's Giovanni Vinci. He was my least valuable dude this week.
All right, we got the same one. I'm not even going to change mine. I'm only picking one person. It is Giovanni Vinci. I have no idea. There's rumors now that are stating that he did something backstage and this is a punishment. But in my opinion, why would you get punished? Why wouldn't you just be like, no, thank you, just fire me? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
That whole thing with, like,
Dave Meltzer stuff.
He was hitting on Tiffany Stratton, but yet they're on the same brand, and Ludwig Kaiser's on a different, like,
they would have moved him and punished. Yeah.
Why would
you? Stupid.
So
I think Triple H just thinks this is funny. They've always thought this was funny, getting guys to come in like they did with Baron Corbin, and that almost ruined his career. So yeah, I think it's stupid, and I don't give two shits about Giovanni Vinci anymore. So let's move on. Most valuable dude or dudette? Who do you got? Are we gonna go 2 for 2 together, or who do you got? Most valuable dude or dudette?
This is probably the most obvious one, but it's Jey Uso. Finally, after
we got the same ones.
After all these years of him being a singles competitor, which feels like he's been a singles level roster now for like a long time. It's only been a calendar year, but man, this dude finally wins his first shot of singles gold, beats Braun Breaker, is the Intercontinental Champion. You know, we got to see him and Sami Zayn interact. We got to see Rhea Ripley do some yeets. You know, I really hope he has a good, long, successful Intercontinental Championship reign. It was a surprise moment, but it was a feel-good moment. I was happy for Jey Uso. He finally can, like I said earlier, can live up to that moniker of being main event Jey Uso. I think he's well-deserved, and I'm super happy for him. And I know Jimmy's happy for him. And I know 100% Roman Reigns has got to be proud of his cousin as well.
Yeah, I was totally going to go with a tie of Roxanne and Julia because that promo was fire, but I decided I was going to pick Jey Uso instead. Jey Uso, he is the Yeet Master. He is. And it just, how can it not be? I just hope now that he has a good title reign and it isn't based around him trying to date Rhea Ripley and then he loses it. So let's keep it real. Jay's finally got it.
He takes his eye off the ball and lose. Yeah. And don't have Braun Breaker win it back next week. Like, just don't do this as like he got his moment and now we're gonna give it back to Braun. Like, that doesn't do anybody any favors. So,
you know who I'm okay with him losing it to?
Drew McIntyre.
Daddy Dom, homie. Daddy Dom needs a singles run. Let's go.
I'd be okay with that, but I think Drew McIntyre would be a good opponent for him too, because they never had their feud. They never had, you know, Drew McIntyre was vocal against Jay coming to Raw in the first place, and they never really had they had a match or two, but they never really had like a pay-per-view quality feud. So I'd be okay with Drew McIntyre.
I agree. All
The
right,
30
that's
Dom,
our
too.
that's true. All right, that's our WWE episode. We are all done. Just so you know, as a reminder, we will be doing our AEW episode. Should be up on Friday, like always, where we're going to cover this huge Grand Slam tonight. Also, with that said, don't forget, we're also going to do 3-part episodes of the Vince McMahon, Mr. McMahon Netflix special, where we'll do episodes 1 and 2 on one, 3 and 4 on one, and 5 and 6 on one. So look out for that too. We're going to give our true opinions. And as always, if you're looking just to hear my voice or to see my beautiful beard, you can check me at HBD Denton on all social media outlets. And as always, I am with my brother from another mother.
It is Ryan Enjoys Wrestling. Go hit me up on all the social platforms as well. Go follow us on TikTok at 2DudesPC or 2 Dudes with Attitudes. Hit us up on X at 2DudesPC. And then if you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify, we appreciate all the love and support. Go leave us a 5-star rating and review. And keep subscribing to the YouTube channel. We're at 1,260 now, I think, or something. So we're making big waves there. And we're back on Twitch, so go follow us there as well. Let everyone know about the 2 Dudes with Attitudes and how we're the best unknown podcast out there. Let's let it be. Let's become the best known podcast out there. So tell your friends, tell your wives, tell everybody in your lives. So there you go.
Woo, Mr.
Yeah,
you know Dr. Seuss. Whoop.
It's the 2 dudes and the attitudes, ruthless, aggressively speaking. So let's do this. We're Ryan and Denton, they here to get your attention. The 5-star broadcast, shit, start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all E, the 2 dudes with the attitudes that bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on, time to lock in. Listen to the podcast where they get it poppin'.